Prahlad Maharaja confirmed this by saying that if one wants success in life, he should immediately understand from the right sources that his self-interest, what his self-interest is, and how he should mold his life in spiritual consciousness. One should understand himself to be part and parcel of Krishna, and thus completely take shelter of his lotus feet for guaranteed spiritual success. Everyone in the material world is in the bodily conception, struggling hard for existence, life after life. Prahlad Maharaj therefore recommended that to stop this material condition of repeated birth and death, one should go to the forest, Vana. In the Varnashrama system, one first becomes a brahmachari, then a grihastha, a vanaprastha, and a sannyasi. Going to the forest means accepting vanaprastha life, which is between grihastha life and sannyasa. As confirmed in the Vishnu Purana 3.8.9, Varna Shrama Charavata Purushena Parapuman Vishnu Raradyade. By accepting the institution of Varna and Ashrama, one can very easily elevate himself to the platform of worshipping Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, if one remains in the bodily conception, one must rot within this material world and his life will be a failure. Society must have divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And for spiritual advancement, one must gradually develop as a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasi. Prahlad Maharaj recommended that his father accept vanaprastha life because as a grihastha, he was becoming increasingly demoniac due to bodily attachment. Prahlad recommended to his father that accepting vanaprastha life would be better than going deeper and deeper into grihamandakupam, the blind well of life as a grihastha. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore invite all the elderly persons of the world to come to Vrindavana and stay there in retired life, making advancement in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Pitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I've been asked to speak to you opening today on Prahlad's qualities and his wonderful character, because very soon we are going to be able to celebrate Narsimha Chaturdashi, which is, I think, on the 25th of May coming in. Here we have read a few verses of the wonderful, sweet Bhagavatam. Reading the Bhagavatam itself is such a wonderful experience in these times when people are suffering great losses. He has such a deep, mature understanding of life. He knows the truth. He knows what is life about. And right in the beginning, it is mentioned here as an introduction to his nature, his character. We're getting introduced to his tendency not to be involved in politics. Not the way we talk about politics, but a much deeper understanding of politics he has. So that sampling is given to us. Politics means seeing people differently. Pritak bhavam, separate mentality, separatist mentality. So seeing somebody as your friend and seeing somebody as your enemy is wrong, is Prahlad Maharaj's realization when he's 5 years old. And therefore, although they taught him politics, he did not learn it. It's very interesting that you see, if you teach, you are a teacher. If you have a student, for it to become complete, the student has to learn what you teach. But if the student decides, I don't want to learn this, you, whatever you may do and froth in your mouth and speak volumes and volumes, it will not go across. So Prahlad Maharaj had the unique capability to stay inside this material world and shut off in some places, cut off and close the doors in certain ways. This is the ability of a very, very exalted, experienced spirit soul. So some of these characters, some of these characteristics that you would see in Prahlad are those that belong to a highly matured, highly advanced spirit soul. But you'll see them inside the body of a boy 5 years old. That's why many times people who read this without a proper understanding of devotional life and bhakti, they cannot understand certain things. Bhakti is not about age. Physical age, your corporeal system, has got nothing to do with the spirit soul. Asango hi ayam purusha. Asanga means not associated. Purusha means this person who is the proprietor of this body. Asango hi ayam purusha. Actually, this person, the spirit soul, has nothing to do with this body. Has nothing to do with it. But of course, we are going to take a lot of time to understand that. But Prahlad Maharaj already understood that. So we are being introduced to Prahlad Maharaj because of the beautiful questions of Parikshit Maharaj to Shukadeva Goswami. And this is a dramatic introduction, saying that Prahlad Maharaj, so young, but was not interested in politics. It's not that because he's young, he's not interested in politics, because he does not understand politics. No, he's not interested in politics because he knows it's got to do with differentiating people on the basis of enemies and friends. For him, everybody is connected with Krishna. You see, for a person who sees everything in relationship with Krishna, there cannot be any other differences. The way to see is to see in connection with Krishna. Everything else is material. That is explained in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. This is a very amazing scientific statement, philosophical statement, a realistic statement. The real seeing is only done by a pure devotee. A pure devotee can see as it is. And this is Prahlad saying, I have nothing to do with relative seeing. I see only absolutely. I see every spirit soul is connected with Krishna. Other things that are stuck on top of it in terms of matter, material world, material life, and temporary designations, everything doesn't concern me. Those keep altering in a flux. Because it is temporary, because it is ever changing, it's not the truth. So we cannot go by the ever changing external so-called swabhava of a person. Rather, we should reach out and see the person deep internally. This is what I mean is depth of understanding politics. The word politics, Prahlada has a deep understanding. If you take it in terms of its width in this world, I don't want to speak about it and waste time also. But enough people will speak about it. We went through the elections recently here in Tamil Nadu, and everybody was hoping and hoping that this person will come and that person should not come. Don't vote for this fellow because this fellow is like this. Don't vote for these people because these people are like that. Each one speaking against the other. Each one speaking against the other. Finally, everybody dies one fine day. That's it. What they spoke is gone. It's not useful at all to anybody. It just created divisions in society and pitted one person against the other, created animosity in the atmosphere, everything. And then afterwards, the politicians enjoy. In fact, whom they called enemies together will sit down and drink in the night. They don't even care that I call this fellow names and everything. They actually, I don't, it's better not to talk about it, like I said. There's no value for them. So Prahlad Maharaj said, I never want to descend into that level. I want to retain myself in my understanding of what actually we should do in our vision. Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai ki. How we should understand. So we're getting introduced. You'll get introduced to all sorts of characters in this Narsimha Lila. It's very amazing. We also got introduced to Shukracharya. He's a main player, one of the main characters here. Of course, behind, but highly influential, highly influential. So you have broad categories of the demigods, the asuras headed by Hiranyakashipu. Then you have the pure devotee, Prahlad, Narada Muni, etc. Then you have the rest of the laity, the bulk of the people. Then you have the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have demigods, you have the Supreme Lord, you have his pure devotees, then you have the Asuras, and out of them the character called Hiranyakashipu. So this is a fantastic array of characters that we will come across. And each one of these groups have got a specific role to play in this great Leela, amazing Leela, until Lord Nrsimhadev appears finally in the end. The climax is the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev from the pillar. But he knows everything that's going on. And what will happen, he can predict much better. Right? So the world is suffering Hiranyakashipu. The entire existence is suffering Hiranyakashipu. And it was some sort of a mistake made by Brahma that he gave a boon to Hiranyakashipu. So the demigods also had their role to play in it. And finally, they were put into a very difficult situation and they could not do their service. Let's talk about each one of these groups and see where they fit in. So it's the demigods who, because of their fights regularly with the Asuras, finally were in a difficult position because of the appearance of Hiranyakashipu, very powerful personality, who did penance and got this boon from the demigods, from Brahma. You see, if an Asura performs religious tapasya and everything properly, although you know his deep internal makeup, you cannot withhold giving him what he wants. This is the state of the universe. You see, Asuric tapasya, Asuric austerity, Asuric learning, Asuric skill, all these things are useless because the intention is to oppose Krishna. Asuras tat viparyaya. So people can become educated, learned in everything in this material world and perform austerity and get punya also. but you can be asuric. Isn't it very amazing combination? So it's nothing great about being very religious and punya oriented, etc. Because even Hiranyakashipu can do it. And he can use it for wrong purposes. So the point is not about being religious. The point is about being a person absorbed in the reality, the truth that Krishna is the reality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. If you don't do that, then the crux of it, the main substance and content of it is not there. Is not there. You see, that's the meaning of Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Why is Krishna telling, give up all forms of religion and surrender to me? Because all those performances, religion and austerity and following duties and everything is meant to bring out the reality, to bring out that original truth, Krishna. And if that does not happen, everything you did is useless. So you'll see everything that Hiranyakashipu did is actually useless. Is actually useless. He only got saved by the mercy of his son. This is a beautiful story. So you have the demigods on one side who fumbled and did not know how to handle Hiranyakashipu. They could not actually. And then on the other side, you have the Asuras. There's another combination here is, Prabhupada is talking about a Shukracharya, an anomaly. The anomaly we spoke about, demigods giving boons to the Asuras because of their performance, although their intentions are different. And they're obliged to do it as rulers and cosmic managerial heads. Helplessly, they would have to do it. And they did not know how to manage it. And then on the other side, you have the Asuras feeling inferior and feeling that the Lord will always take the side of the demigods. Therefore, we have to look after ourselves. And therefore, they politic and somehow get a very powerful Brahmana on their side, Shukracharya. Prabhupada mentions later that Shukracharya, why did he do this service of serving the Asuras who are against the Supreme Lord? Because he got better remuneration. Even Shukracharya could be bought off with money. Could be bought off with money. I remember, for the sake of ISKCON, I was fighting some court case in this thing as a brahmachari. And one of those advocates was telling me how the judiciary functions and how the lawyers function and how whatever you may do, somebody could be bought off from the other side, from this side and everything. You should be careful. And I said, no, I don't think so. Then I don't think this man will do it. He said, no. And he quoted to me a quotation from a person called Hugh Walpole, some great person, one of these thinkers or something. He said, every man has got his price. Full stop, he said. Everybody will drop when you show a certain figure. However great he may be, you can buy him. That's the general saying in this material world. That if I give you something highly attractive offer materially, at some place you will fall for it. Because nature of the material world is you punch holes in your original character. It's attractive, it's addictive. And if somebody can get a position, somebody can get wealth, then they will compromise on their principles. That's the meaning of material life. So Shukracharya was a victim of this type of a compromise. He was willing to give up his stature as a Brahmana who would actually go by the correct instructions of the Vedic literature. He thought that does not matter, they're giving me better stuff. And he fell down into the temporary plane and he became the guru of the asuras. So you'll see Shukracharya helping them out wonderfully. And they are very grateful to Shukracharya. He'll bring them back to life. He'll create that type of Sanjeevani medicine that he will bring the dead asuras back to life. That's how Bali Maharaj became very, very, in the next generation after Hiranyakashipu, you will see. Bali Maharaj became very, very dedicated to Hiranyakashipu. So they're very dedicated to Sukracharya. So Sukracharya is not an ordinary person. Another character you will see. And Hiranyakashipu is helped and favored by this very influential personality, Shukracharya. So his two sons are Shanda and Amarka. Can you imagine how close to heart Shukracharya would be for Hiranyakashipu? To them, he entrusted Prahlad and said, my son, and my guru is Shukracharya, and you are the sons of Shukracharya, my son and your son. Perfect combination. You teach him. Shanta and Amarka, very happy about it. Coming in the parampara of Shukracharya, we will also continue to serve the asuras. We will start, indoctrinating Prahlad. So that is a Shukracharya involvement, that's a demigod's involvement. And there is a big history to Hiranyakashipu's involvement. Who Hiranyakashipu is, what is his real desire? Because he has got a history of wrath, anger, vengeance, everything. Because of the Lord appearing as Varaha and killing his brother Hiranyaksha. And Hiranyakashipu becomes extremely disturbed. And he wants to avenge the death of his brother. And so he is wanting to kill Vishnu. He says that. They want to kill Vishnu, suck his blood. This is the type of a Rakshasa mentality he has. This is his notion. And all this is known to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is thinking what? Why? Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshu arjuna tishtati. He's situated in everybody's heart, including the donkey, the pig, including Hiranyakashipu, including Joe Biden, including everybody and anybody else, Netanyahu, who is busy fighting Palestinian forces. You name it, in everybody's heart, the Lord is situated. Even in Hiranyakashipu's heart. So he knows what he is wanting to do. He knows what Prahlad is wanting to do. He knows what Shukracharya is planning to do. He knows what the demigods are struggling with. So we have all these different array of characters. And in all of them, Prahlad stands out. Young boy, 5 years old, stands out. He is an amazing enigma to Hiranyakashipu. And he is an amazing, astounding performer of devotional service to Narada Muni. And he is so much loved and appreciated by Lord Narsimha. And all the demigods are seeing a model of what they could be doing with all the facilities and all the wonderful opportunities they have with the Supreme Lord whom they approach. That's also very interesting. Why? We will close by hearing this one instance that the demigods, they all approach the Lord, taking Brahma with them, because Hiranyakashipu has taken over and all the demigods have been displaced from all the positions and roles and everything. And the demigods are actually working as servant maids and servants to Hiranyakashipu. He's keeping them on their toes. He's treating them like very low level of servants. This is their situation. Bhagavatam mentions even Narada Muni is willing to offer his services to Hiranyakashipu, of course, in a different way. Hiranyakashipu respects Narada Muni in a different way. So you will see that the demigod's position is very, very bad. So they approach Brahma and together they go and they tell the Lord, this is what is happening. And the Lord says, what can I do? Brahma gave this boon. Nothing can be done now. We can't break the protocol. We can't break the Vedic injunctions. Then people will be lost. They won't know what to follow, what not to follow. So the Lord gave his reasoning. But then he said, all those protocols and everything will be broken by me. When this fellow, Hiranyakashipu, offends my devotee, Prahlad, that time I have every reason to come. But now, really speaking, I don't have any reason to come. He told the demigods that, you got into a problem and you are the guys who gave the boon and you made a mess. But don't worry, definitely, this Hiranyakashipu will start torturing his son. He will start offending his son because the son is a bold, fearless devotee. And definitely they both will collide. So the amazing thing is the meeting of these two extreme personalities. On the one extreme end is Hiranyakashipu, Asuric, leader of the Asuras, practically the ruler of the whole universe. All the demigods have been displaced, most powerful. On the other side, you have his son, the small, young, 5-year-old Prahlad, tender. And he, in nature, is the right opposite to his father. He is a pure devotee of Krishna. So this combination is brought out by Krishna himself, definitely, that the son of Hiranyakashipu becomes Prahlad. Because when the demigods take over, especially when Hiranyakashipu has gone to perform penances into the forest, that time the demigods ravage the whole kingdom and they take over everything. And they are dragging Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and taking her. At that time, Narada Muni will stop it. And he will say, no, don't do anything to this lady. This lady bears an amazing, wonderful personality in her womb. So he will stop the demigods and he will take the lady to his ashram. He'll take Hiranyakashipu's wife to his ashram. So you can imagine how obligated Hiranyakashipu will be to Narada Muni. Isn't it? This is how he became very obligated to Narada Muni. Because you saved my wife, you saved my son. But little do you know what that son is going to do to you, Hiranyakashipu. But everything looks nice. And therefore, Narada Muni would be having a good relationship with Hiranyakashipu. Because in his ashram was Kayadu living. And Narada Muni did not stop at it and did not waste time. He started teaching the boy inside the womb of Kayadu about Krishna, about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So every day in the ashram, he was running Bhagavatam class for one person who's not even sitting there, but is inside the womb of Kayadu. And Kayadu, being a pregnant lady, would get so tired, sometimes she would go to sleep. But Prahlad from within the womb would be hearing. And the response would come from him, from inside. Was fully, attentively hearing. Amazing. That Narada Muni knows whom he is instructing. This one person is going to save the whole universe. I don't need a whole audience of people before I speak. I don't need a whole school of students. I just need Prahlad's attention. Such was the advanced communication of Narada Muni with Prahlad, that he was instructing him every day, even before his birth. So before Prahlad was born, was already initiated. He was already taking instructions from Guru. That's what he's mentioned here to his father. What I have learned from my spiritual master, which Hiranyakashipu would possibly think, oh, you mean Shanta and Amarka and Shukracharya. Wow, wonderful. Let's hear it. What is it? That sadhu manye asuravarya dehina. He's telling, oh, great, number one Asura. And father would be feeling so wonderful about it. My son really knows who I am. Asat grihat tat vanam gato arimashrayata. Then only he would understand what he really means. He's telling, give up this type of materialistic life. Go and take shelter of the Lord. Hari ashrayata. Shelter of Hari. What a shocking revelation it would be for Hiranyakashipu. That sitting on my lap is my son, my dear son. And he has got a notion diametrically opposite to me. Now starts Hiranyakashipu's trouble. His son has come to give him the greatest trouble in terms of Hiranyakashipu's mind and thoughts. The arrangement of the Lord is so amazing here. In fact, the arrangement of everything in this world is so amazing. We don't know anything. We're so powerless. We're so weak, actually, in reality. But we think we are very strong. We think we are very great. That is the attitude of Hiranyakashipu. I am great. I am Ishwaro, I am Bogi, Balavan Sukhi. I am great. I am powerful, Balavan. I am happy. But trouble starts brewing with this boy, Prahlad, his own son. What a deadly arrangement Krishna has made. Hiranyakashipu can conquer the entire universe. But here on his lap is sitting a deadly snake which is going to sting him. And he doesn't know about it. But in terms of Hiranyakashipu, in terms of his notions, his greatest enemy is his son, actually. But here we read that Prahlad had no notions of friend and enemy. But for Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad becomes the greatest enemy. An enemy whom he cannot handle, he cannot destroy. Right? So Krishna consciousness can never be destroyed. Bhakti can never be destroyed. Bhakti is eternal. There is always this constant tension between the material realm, materialistic pursuit, materialistic notions, and that of bhakti. Repeatedly, bhakti is being attacked, but bhakti is never destroyed. Like Prahlad was never destroyed. Repeated attempts of Hiranyakashipu only destroyed him. So we can understand this and uphold our spiritual practices. Chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Having faith in the words of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada from his books. Having words and faith in Vaishnavas, in Guru. Taking the association and simply moving ahead with Krishna consciousness, whatever taunting, tantalizing, teasing situations come up due to Maya in the material world. We should know this one truth, that bhakti is always victorious. And whatever other things that seemingly look powerful, like Hiranyakashipu is seemingly the most powerful person in the universe. Nobody can do anything to him. But the small boy could do everything to him because of bhakti. Bhakti is super powerful. We should never underestimate it. The mental problem that we have under the influence of material nature is, we think sometimes that bhakti won't work. Oh, the whole world is corona oriented. Everybody is struck. And somebody very close to us was struck yesterday. It's a great misery to all of us. But still we must know that bhakti is victorious, we should firmly stick on to Krishna consciousness. And in the ultimate issue, you will see that always devotional service, devotion, devotees are victorious. Repeatedly in all these stories in the Bhagavatam, you'll hear bhakti comes out victorious, the devotee comes out victorious, according to a completely different frame of judgment, right? So we will see in the story all these great characters and groups, and we will see bhakti triumphs. Devotion to the Supreme Lord is your greatest asset. It's your greatest weapon. It's your most interesting and highly beneficial activity and exercise. So the more we hear the stories, the more we can understand how a devotee is very powerful. Even he doesn't know he is powerful, but Krishna works through him. Krishna worked through Prahlad and gave such a tough time to Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad little did not even know that I'm doing this to my father. He just kept affectionately coming back to his father. And therefore this Lila is so amazing that, if you listen to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his representatives, you'll automatically become an instrument in affairs of this world where bhakti triumphs. And in the end, you'll feel very happy. You'll feel very successful. You'll feel great fulfillment. All the demigods were feeling very fulfilled in the end and satisfied. Narada Muni was so happy. My disciple brought the Supreme Lord. Right? And even Prahlad was very happy because he could give the greatest benefit to his father, Hiranyakashipu, which Hiranyakashipu had never dreamt of. He had no bhakti sukriti in him to achieve it at all. But he got a great amount of mercy from his son. And he became victorious because he got the mercy of Krishna. He got the mercy of Krishna. So how bhakti works and how everybody becomes happy, everybody becomes benefited, everybody is satisfied in the end. That's a beautiful story. We will recollect this more and more, and we should always understand that we should, with great faith and great love, render devotional service to Krishna under any circumstances. Because in the end, that's the most successful thing. That's the most successful thing. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruvani Tirumatirimama Tatra Sri Vijaya. Shri and Vijaya, prosperity and victory will be for that person. So Prahlad finally became victorious. He sat on that throne as a king. He was never expecting to do all these things. He became the king in the place of Hiranyakashipu. Right? Not that he was bothered about it or concerned about it in any way. He was not hankering for it. But everything material, everything spiritual, and everything devotional can be the wealth of a devotee. This is what we can understand. So Prahlad is a brilliant character, amazing character in many ways. And the things that he teaches are so nice, so nice. It's worthwhile. Humanity should read these instructions of Prahlad. Prabhupada wanted this to be taught to school students. And if you look at it philosophically very deeply, it's wonderful. We should run teachings of Prahlad, the schoolboy Prahlad, and run a series for school students to know foundational principles of success. And this would be very wonderful. I wish sometimes that we were able to do this and the government accepts these type of things and we can teach the students. Even otherwise, our devotees are already teaching the students. So let's go back today thinking about the beautiful character of Prahlad amidst various other characters and the setting that we are in, and how Prahlad is being introduced to us as a person who is not involved in politics, does not want to involve, and is very determined about these things. Om Tat Sat, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any question or comment? Sundara Murari Das, if someone gives up his principles, not contradictory, if he gets good position, say temple president, will that be fine? Anyway, he's dedicating his life for Krishna. What is wrong in giving up some of the principles since he is going to lead the community of devotees? Please clarify. That is a different judgment. That's a different judgment. Material principles is what you're talking about. You're not talking about devotional principles. Many devotees in history have made this type of decisions. For devotional service, they're willing to give up anything. That's what you'll see in Vrindavan. The Brajavasis, the Gopis, they don't care about all material principles, Varnashrama duties. If Krishna calls, they run. I don't care. Bilva Mangal Thakur's famous statement, Sandhya Vandanam Bhadramastu. Sandhya Vandanam that I should do at the Sandhi time as a Brahmana, as a religious follower, as a Grahastha. Bhadramastu, Tata bye bye. I know it's one of the greatest of principles of a Grahastha, but I cannot do it anymore. And Tata to you. Why? Because wherever I sit down now, I cannot help but think of that great descendant of the Vrishni dynasty, Krishna. And I think that's enough for me. That's enough for me. So sometimes devotees know the value of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. So they may take it up. They may take up an opportunity and give up certain things. And people in the world will criticize such a person. Oh, he went and took sannyas. He went and did this. Horrible. But the devotee, in spite of living in the atmosphere of such people, continues to serve. Just like Prahlad, in spite of remaining atmosphere of complete asuras surrounding him, single-handedly, as a single person, continued to serve Krishna. He was preaching to all the Gurukul boys. He was being tortured. He was being put to the worst type of challenges. He simply executed it. So it's not so easy also for a person who gives up so-called religious considerations and dutiful considerations and takes up the service. He should also be ready to face the challenges that come within that service. And it has been done. So this is what I understand from your question, that giving up principles means the set duties and everything that are normally spoken about in this world as being important and good. So there are many devotees who joined the Krishna consciousness movement by giving up many valuable positions in the material world, or even giving up their wealth. And they do face challenges also when they do their service. But they stick on because they know, like from the story, that in the end, they will be successful by Krishna's mercy. This is Sudha Paramesh asking question. Even when great devotees suffer due to corona or some dangerous disease and leave the body, how should we understand that, Maharaj? Are they an example to teach us how they stick to Krishna consciousness in any circumstance? That's one way of looking at it. Corona is just a reason. It's an external reason for that person to leave the body. If Krishna has decided that he should leave the body, what does it matter whether it is corona or an accident or typhoid or cholera or somebody even murdering him? What does it matter? Krishna has decided to take the spiritual. The rest are just material details. It doesn't matter. So you must understand the foundational basic principle behind. Nothing happens. Tena vina tranamapina chalati. Nothing is happening without Krishna's sanction. So if somebody is leaving his body due to corona, corona is the reason for all of us in the material world. But the real reason is Krishna has decided to take the person back. That is the real reason. When a devotee passes away, especially, is not ordinary. When he dies, which I shouldn't be saying using the word die, because a devotee never dies. He just goes back to Krishna. where he came from. That's not called death. That is called successfully surmounting death. And Krishna has decided to take him away. Enough you have suffered in this world. Come to my shelter permanently. And I want to relate with you. And let's revel in bhakti exchanges. So it's a great news in one sense. Because the devotee who has rendered service throughout his life has chanted Hare Krishna, how will he be forgotten by Krishna? So to look at it in terms of, oh, he died out of corona. Why, if he died out of cancer, it's more prestigious disease? Or is there anything prestigious or dignified about the type of situation that you die in? Everything is the same. Everything is the same. It is just variation. So many people are living during corona. Many people are anyway living even without corona. But deaths by accidents, by that, by this, the statistics is there. So I think as devotees, we should rather try our best. So it's a difficult thing to do it, especially if his relative is close to you and is known to you. Right now, we are suffering a great loss in our community, and not wanting to talk about it because I know many are very deeply moved from what happened yesterday, and we will be having a meeting on that. But these are not something uncommon. When Abhimanyu passed away in the battlefield, when Krishna was right there, Arjuna was right there, right? And he left. And many of the Kauravas were actually not even doing proper Kshatriya ordered execution of their duties. But Arjuna took it. He was drowned in grief, but Krishna consoled him and he went back to fight. So many of our members may sometimes pass away, but we should know that Krishna is in charge. And for a devotee to leave his material body or whatever, his material experience, etc., is not something bad. It's something good because he can go back to Krishna. Those are my thoughts. Sudha Paramesh. Another one is Valli Krishna. So the conclusion is bhakti is everything and greatest assets than anything others. What possesses here in the material world and solutions to all miseries, Maharaj. Yes, that's what the Bhagavatam tells us. That's what the Bhagavad Gita tells us. Bhakti is the greatest asset, not money, not material possessions, not material positions. It's bhakti. It's the greatest asset. So we should accumulate that by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I hope that Krishna blesses you with that Valli Krishna. Santoshni Pati. When I am in sorrow, I feel low to enchant. What's the reason, Maharaj? I feel low to chant. What's the reason, Maharaj? Yeah, because we are material people. We are in this material world and we have material contamination. So there's a good chance you'll feel all these things. But using your intelligence, using the knowledge that you have from the Shastra, you can control that so-called feeling. And you can understand that this is just my mind, not me, and putting me through this experience. The Shastra says that by chanting Hare Krishna, I will be in a much better situation. Therefore, loudly chant the holy name. When you're morose, loudly chant and take it off, shake it off. And Krishna is very merciful and the holy name is very merciful and very kind. And you will be reinstated. So try this out and see. Okay? Santoshini Pati. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you. Keep safe, all of you.